copywriting for the web, we talked about that people are impatient. Let's just actually now think about how they read online. What are the practicalities of how people read on screen? And I think what you have to have is an honest view of how people use websites, and indeed how people use your website. What is clear when you look at the research, if you've ever done any usability, if you've ever done any analysis of people using your website, and even if you just ask colleagues that perhaps don't know the website, or friends or family to try your website out, don't give them any clues and just ask them to use your website. What you'll see is that they make snap judgments. They will come into your website and they will quickly decide whether they like the website, they'll quickly decide whether they understand it, and they'll quickly decide whether to stay with that website or not. So how people use websites is they're very, very impatient, and they're looking for what the web page is about and what they need to do. And if they can't work that out very quickly, they will leave. So the implication for web copy is going back to this idea of context. Your web page design has to allow them to see, okay, this is what you do, web visitor, this is what you click on, and this is what you should read. So be honest about how people are reading your copy. They don't start at the top, they don't read all the way down, and they'll ignore most of the stuff you put there. So what we've got here on this slide is something you may or may have not seen before. This is what's known as a heat map. And what we have here is what's called eye tracking. People are put in front of screens and they are asked to look at web pages. And there are little cameras that track their movements of their eyes. And over time, this is not just one person, this is aggregated with several people. Where the hotspots on this screen, the areas are red or bright colors, that's where people are looking at the page the most. And what's interesting when you look at these, as I say, heat maps, is people are not reading everything. If you look, certainly the blue areas, there are areas of your web page that are just not looked at all. In fact, certainly on the right-hand side here, you can see there's what's known as the traditional F pattern scanning, where people are just coming into the page, their eyes are zipping about the page, and they're just looking at the images, they're looking at a few bit of text here and there. But certainly, if you look again on the right-hand side, there are sections of the web page that almost are invisible. People are not even looking at them. So people coming to your website, they scan read, they skim read, they do not read all the copy. And you've got to accept that. And it's not a bad thing necessarily, but if you assume that people are reading 100% of your copy, you're mistaken. And if you think you can waffle and eventually get to the point without allowing them to do that scan reading, they won't stay around. They will move on to the next web page. So just accept this reality and work with it is the point I'm making. Now, here is a really good book that I can recommend to you. And what I like about this book and why I think it's a really great guide to web usability and also writing for the web is Steve Krug's Don't Make Me Think. And the reason why I recommend this book to you is it's a fantastic guide on how to build web pages and lay out copy so that your web visitors don't hesitate. They don't think, what do I do here? What do I read? What do I click on? And in fact, Steve Krug's whole message is summed up in the headline of his book, or the title of his book, Don't Make Me Think. What you want to do with your web copy and your web pages is have the visitor just instinctively move around the web, move around your web page, clicking here, there, and everywhere without having to think. As soon as that cursor slows down and they don't know what to do, they'll click away. So just remember that point. You do not want your web visitors to think or to hesitate, if you like. So here's an example of a site with copy. Apart from the fact that we've got white text on a black background, which is not great from a usability point of view, but when you look at this in terms of just the copy now, let alone the images on the right-hand side here, what does this company do? And I'm sure that they know what they do. You'd hope they know what they do. Maybe their customers or some of their customers know what they do. But when you look at it from a copywriting perspective, there's no clarity here. Beyond channels, beyond products, beyond distribution, what on earth does that mean? So your web visitor, what he or she will do, will come in, they'll look at this, they'll quickly scan read the text, and if they don't get what this page is about, that's when they leave. You can't afford to do this. So your copy has got to be clear, but also what it can do for you, it can also guide people's attention. Now, as we look at this example, at the moment, I'm not sure what Enzo is, but I know it's free. So go back to this idea of scan reading, the visitor's going to come in, they're going to scan read this page, and they're going to see, oh, something's free. Now, in terms of design, we could probably move that button closer to the left, maybe. We can make the call to action greater, but it's very obvious that something's free. And this is the sort of response that you want. You want an instant reaction with your copy, that the web visitor goes, oh, I get it.